Welcome to the Adam Bernard podcast. Today we are going to be talking about estate planning and trusts. Today I have a special guest with me, Mr. Joseph Solis. Mr. Solis, do you want to just introduce yourself for me, please?
My name is Joseph Solis. I'm based in Houston, Texas. The managing attorney of Adam Bernard Attorneys here in Texas. I am a graduate of Harvard Law School, class of 1979, so I've been practicing law ever since. A portion of my practice has to do with estate planning for clients, and I've been working on wills, trusts, and other estate planning documents ever since I started my practice.
Amazing. Okay, let's start with the basics. What exactly is a trust?
Well, a trust is a legal document. It's a estate planning document. It involves three parties: a grantor of the trust, a trustee, and a beneficiary. The same person can't be all three, but typically they're not. It's basically a document that's designed to put assets in an instrument, the trust, so that they're not personal assets anymore. They're not corporate assets, they're trust assets. And they're designed to allow the person that creates the trust to determine, who can benefit from the assets. Um, and just basically control the assets in the trust. When they can be distributed, who they're distributed to. Um, it, 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 it avoids, in many cases, the cost and expense of probate and uncertainty of, distribution of those assets. But it's about control, basically.
Brilliant. So, Mr. Solis, based on your experience, what problems does a trust actually solve for families?
Uh, it's also a number of different things. One is if there are individuals that are, say, incapacitated or can't are unable to manage their affairs, the trustee will manage the estate of the trust and can make payments on behalf of beneficiaries of the trust. That's one thing. Um, it'll avoid the cost and expense of probate, particularly people that have multi-state assets, say in Texas and other states. Um, yeah, after the owner of the assets dies without a trust, it would pass under the state rules. So there would have to be estate proceedings in each of the states where this property is located. This would avoid that. It would also, if it's properly done, serve as an asset protection device so that if there are people with high net worth that have substantial assets in their individual name, if there's a lawsuit against them, there's a judgment, and those assets are at risk, they could be seized to pay off the creditor. If it's a properly drawn trust and the assets are properly transferred to the trust, then there wouldn't be personal assets, it would be trust assets. So the trust could serve it as an estate planning device as well. And if there's property owned that's to be distributed to heirs, rather than heirs each owning an individual portion of it, I mean, percentage of it, but the trustee can hold the asset in the trust and keep it whole until family members decide to sell it or otherwise dispose it. But it would avoid the fractional interest and, you know, parties um, either unable to agree on what they want to do.
Yes.
uh, which often happens. It would be the trustee that manages the properties and makes the decisions. So only one person, the trustee, would have to, you know, agree to convey the property, But would hold the benefit, you know, would hold the proceeds in the trust for the benefit of the beneficiaries, um, as long as the trust is in existence. Now, whoever creates the trust can determine, you know, what the distribution obligations of the trustee should be and when the trust will terminate. But it's, you know, can be effectively used as an asset protection device for people with high net worth.
Yeah. One of the biggest concerns we have, that we hear from a lot of our clientele is protecting their children. So, how does a trust help protect that?
Um, well, it helps protect it because the trustee has the obligation to do that. There's control over the money. The trust can obligate the trustee to pay for, you know, the benefit of the children. The trustee will make the decisions. The children themselves will not make the decisions, but the trustee has a fiduciary obligation to, you know, administer the trust in accordance with the trust agreement, and if it's provided, which it typically is, that the trustee has the discretion to, you know, make payments on behalf of the children. That the trustee would do that. The trustee could make payments to the children, or the trustee could pay off, uh, you know, either creditors or purchase of property or assets, or make payments on behalf of the children themselves. And um, that's typically how it would work. The beneficiaries would just have to ask, unless the trustee already knows. You know, the trustee would, you know, basically have a duty to the beneficiaries.
Okay. I'm going to give you a couple questions that I've come up with based on comments that we've gone from a few clients from previous podcasts. Um, the first one is, do I need a trust if my estate is not large?
If you have assets, even in a small estate, um, you would have to uh, transfer things that would have to be transferred after your death. And the typical way to do that is to go through probate proceedings, where you would have to, you know, file for probate. Typically, you can't do it yourself. You'd have to hire an attorney to do the probate. And then the probate would file, you know, the attorney would file an application on your behalf. There'd be a notice required to be given. There'd be a waiting period. There'd be a hearing to get the executor, who would be named in the will, if you have a will, uh, um, appointed. I mean, there'd be you know, a cost to do that, and you know, often the cost of the trust would be less expensive than going to probate proceedings.
Yeah.
And it's like save money, and you can avoid probate if you put your assets in the trust, because then the trustee would just distribute them in accordance with the trust agreement. But but avoiding probate is, one of the, besides asset protection, avoiding probate is one of the big benefits of having a trust.
Brilliant. Can a trust be changed later?
Yes. Okay. Well, there are two types of trust. There's a revocable trust and there's a irrevocable trust. Um, but yes, it can be changed later. The irrevocable one may has some limitations to it. But it depends on what your objective is.
Okay. When should someone start planning their estate?
I mean, it's always a good time to do it at the present because um, anything could happen. I mean, you could die in an auto accident or a plane crash or
God forbid it happens. It could happen.
Yeah, I mean, you could have a heart attack or,
Yeah.
um, be the victim of some crime. I mean, uh, you can't predict the future. So it's always a good time to take care of your affairs in advance once you, decide you want to do it. And you should do it and not put it off. I mean, too many people put it off. I mean, I have acquaintances um, that were not clients, but they were acquaintances who kept telling me, "Oh, I need to do this. I need to create a will, or I need to create a trust," and they never got around to it. I can think of three of them who passed away, and they had some assets. They weren't super rich, but they had assets and they had children, and the children were fighting
against them.
So yeah, yeah. In one instance, there were two siblings, and one of the siblings claimed that the the parent that died gave the life's distribution to the other sibling before he, before he before he passed, and then as a result of that, she should get a disproportionate share of the remaining estate. So they actually had a lawsuit. She sued her brother. uh, um, it was just, a mess. So it's always a good time to take care of things.
Yeah.
As soon as you decide that it's something that you want to do, you should at least, if nothing else, talk to an attorney about it and find out what he would recommend, he or she would recommend. Get some kind of estimate on what the cost would be.
Brilliant. All right. We're going to go to our quick fire round. I have 3 questions for you. I want them just quick answers, quick responses, and something that you think of straight from the top of your head. All right. Number 1. What is the biggest misconception about trusts?
Well, one is that they cost a lot of money. I mean, really, relative to the state proceedings, they don't. Or relative to disruption that can be caused and the cost of, the family trying to deal with the property afterwards. Could be greater. In many instances, it is great, but most instances, it's greater. I mean, that's the biggest concern in this conception.
Brilliant. What's one mistake you see people make again and again and again that they never learn from?
Oh, the biggest mistake is they don't take care of their affairs, and there's a big disruption after they pass. Um, uh, Another mistake that they make is they they don't they don't really think of alternatives. You know, they 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 do a will, a very simple will, try to do it themselves sometimes. Some people, some new, software that's out there, and it's just just a sort of a standard type of really it's very basic. It really doesn't achieve what they want to achieve, and they make distributions to people who aren't able to make decisions, or they'll split interests so that once they pass, that people get undivided interest in property,
Yeah.
and the the owners of that property just can't agree on what they want to do with it. So they get messy. I mean, sometimes it's like people in divorce that um, sometimes you have heirs, children even that they just can't get along together afterwards.
Yeah. All right. Last question. What's one piece of advice for families that are watching you today?
Well, the biggest advice is just to, think about what you have and what you want to do, and talk to someone that, whether it's a financial advisor, an attorney, about the benefits of a trust in their situation.
Yeah.
And see what's recommended, and get a cost estimate, and you can talk to a couple people and compare their advice and recommendations if you want, but it's generally not necessary if you're talking to experienced people.
Brilliant. Thank you, Mr. Solis, for coming on my podcast today. It was such a pleasure to have you. If you have any questions about estate planning or setting up a trust, you can comment down below, or you can ring Adam Bernard Solicitors here in the UK, or Adam Bernard's attorney in Houston, Texas, and talk to Mr. Solis, and he will help you with your estate planning. Thank you for watching Adam Bernard's podcast. I'll see you in the next one.